Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for being here. Today we are going to be making fruit scones or scones, so whichever way you want to call them. And we will start with 8 cups of flour, cake flour, but sometimes I do mix my bread flour and cake flour. Yeah, I know that sounds silly, but this time around I'm using just cake flour. I'm using 8 cups of cake flour and 250 grams of butter, real butter, but you can use any type of fat that you have at your disposal, as long as it is 70% fat, as long as it has 70% fat and 30% water. And then I am adding 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and I added 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And I just remember that actually my family loves the scones a little bit sweeter, therefore I decided to add another half a cup. My red measuring cup is half a cup. And then I am adding 1.5 cup of mixed cranberry and raisins. So now one thing that I'm going to explain is that when you add fruit onto your batter or your dough, make sure that you add more eggs. Here I added 4 eggs, ne? And I felt like it was not enough for some weird reason, because I had added fruit onto my scones. And I'm going to add 1 cup of inkomazi and 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, and we will start mixing. The inkomazi or the maas, it is not the only that I'm making, but after you add 1 cup, the rest you're going to look at your dough and see how much you need. I ended up using 3 cups in total of inkomazi onto my scones batter. But under normal circumstances, if there is no fruit in it, 2 cups will be fine. So you wouldn't need to use anything more than that. But because I had added fruits into it, it kind of like increased the flour a little bit. So I needed to make sure that it is in the consistency that I want it to be. It shouldn't be too soft, it shouldn't be too dry. For this one, I do have other scones that I make that I actually put water into it, and they come out like a cake, like they're very soft, fluffy and everything. But this time around I wanted these kinds of scones, because that one they hold this type one where I don't add water or milk, it holds the fruit much better. And then now we're going to start on cutting the dough or cutting our shape or our scones. It is very quick, it is very easy, doesn't need to stress. I think I got about 38, I'm not sure, 38 or something, somewhere there, pieces of scones. So that's decent number for one to get the scones. You know what, when you're shaping your scones, you can either use a rolling pin or you can use your hand, and you know the thickness that you want. This time around I have made them slightly flatter, but some other times I make them thicker. For me it's the same, it doesn't matter. And it also depends, if I'm making for my family and I don't want to waste time, I would make them thicker. But if maybe I'm making for someone else, or it is for an event or something, I'll definitely make them smaller, because you do want them to stretch a little bit. So we don't waste anything in this house. So once you cut, you start rolling again. I know that some people would add a little bit of milk, like they would put this aside and then mix it again and add a little bit of milk onto it. I don't. I just add flour, combine it again, and continue cutting. I don't see the difference, to be quite honest, so I don't make a fuss about it. In my bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of water, and I just added 1 egg into the water, and I'm whisking them together. Then we will add a dash of vanilla essence. I feel like it takes away that egg smell from the scones, so that's what I'm going to be using for my egg wash. You can use milk. I always use milk, but I just wanted to see the difference between milk and water on how it is going to come about, and it was okay. I didn't see the difference. I think it doesn't matter whether you put you make your egg wash with water or with milk. It doesn't make a difference, honestly. So I still felt like it was the same way. So yeah. Yeah, I know I'm putting my pans on top of the flour, but before I put them in an oven, I do make sure that I wipe the bottom, because I didn't want to move the camera, so I do wipe them. I just put them on top of the flour and then I wipe them, because if I don't, obviously my oven will be a mess. But yeah, that's what I do when I'm shooting. Obviously, if I'm not shooting, I'll put it somewhere else, take it, put the scones in, and then take it to the oven. But since I wanted to show you guys, I didn't want to move the camera and all of that, because that would create more footage, and I didn't want to make this video very long. So since I have filled 2 pans, the ones that I am cutting now, I am actually going to freeze them. I'm not going to bake them, I'm going to freeze them, and I will not be putting egg wash on them. I'm going to flash freeze them, and then I will put them in a freezer bag or Ziploc, and then I'll keep it in my freezer. One day when I'm craving them, then I'll take them out. You bake them straight from the freezer, and they turn out absolutely delicious. You won't even feel that they were frozen or anything. Even if, like now, if it was not long weekend, I would have maybe baked 1 pan and freeze 2 pans, so that we can have 2 more servings of them in a freezer. This is how they look from the oven. They are absolutely delicious. They are yummy. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on my next video. Bye.